Hey everybody, welcome to the Kulture Overdrive podcast. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Grant.
Thank you everybody for being here. This is our first episode we're putting out on YouTube. We have been on Spotify and iHeartRadio for the past month, but we're excited. This is our first video in our new filming room, which is still in the works, but we appreciate you guys being here. We wanted to talk about pop culture through the decades this week, starting with the 80s and on through the 2010s and up till today.
Oh, yeah. 80s. That was a good one. Sorry, guys. I'm in my eye. I was born in 84. So, I remember some good stuff from the 80s, you know. That's when Michael really got big with his solo career. I remember Madonna was really popular in the 80s. Like I heard, what was it, Like a Virgin and all that kind of stuff. Weird Al. I remember when he started his rise doing his parody videos and songs and stuff.
I still want to see that movie with Daniel Radcliffe and Evan Rachel Wood.
Oh man, I'm trying to.
I know it's a parody,
Uh-huh.
which obviously like fits his personality, but I just think it's so cool that Daniel Radcliffe got to play Weird Al and then Evan Rachel Wood played Madonna.
Oh yeah, like I said, it was. You know, I'm trying to think of. So yeah, that's pretty much a lot of. See, once we get further into the decades, then you know, my musical stuff changes and stuff like that. But
yeah,
like I said, in the 80s, I mainly remember, like I said, Michael. I remember Madonna. Prince is another one.
Prince is a big one.
I remember New Edition when they when they kicked Bobby Brown out the group and got Johnny Gill. So yeah, as far as like movies and stuff like that, see, I don't really remember a lot of like movies from the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was the reign of Molly Ringwald and all the John Hughes movies, Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, you know,
gotcha,
all of those. Yeah, those were good ones. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, that's a classic.
See, now that you're saying these movies, yeah. I remember them. Like, I remember them, but I just don't remember watching them at that time.
Right. Well, yeah. So I was born in 88, but I used to watch a lot of VH1 back in the day. A lot of, like, behind the music stuff and those countdown shows that they used to do, the top rock songs or whatever. I don't know. I can't even remember the specific ones. I know Mark McGrath, I think, hosted one, which was pretty cool. But I used to watch a lot of those, and that was really how I got kind of into pop culture, was through VH1 and just watching all of that stuff. Once I started growing out of Nickelodeon and Disney Channel. That's what I switched over to. But yeah, as far as like 80s music, for me, it was like all the 80s like hair bands, like all the rock bands. My favorite being Def Leppard. I love them, but I love like Poison and Motley Crue and Rat and like all of those. I don't know if you listen to any of them, but I was more on like the rock. I was more on the rock side of the 80s. You covered all the good pop artists. I was more into like the harder rock. So yeah, good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. And the style back then was fun. I think it'd be cool to dress like that. I always kind of wanted to dress up like Madonna for Halloween, and then I never end up actually doing it. I always pick something else, but I don't know. Maybe this year.
Yeah. Never say never.
Right?
Like my boy Biebs.
We'll get to him when we get to the 2010s, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as far as the 80s, I mean, I think the 80s is just my favorite decade overall.
Okay.
I feel like, well, the 90s too, now that it's a little more nostalgic, now that we've, you know, time has gone on, I feel like the 90s is almost like the new 80s. Mm-hmm. Like what the 80s were in the 2000s, now that's kind of what the 90s is for people nowadays.
Oh, facts.
As far as like nostalgia and style and the music from back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. 90s. That was, man.
As far as like Nickelodeon and stuff, like you'll never get better kids TV than the 90s Nickelodeon shows. I know that's a little controversial now just because, but I mean, they produce some good shows.
Yes. Yeah. 90s TV, movies.
Not just Nickelodeon.
Music.
But like yes.
Fashion. I mean, sport, whatever. Like, 90s just is unmatched. I don't care. You can call me an old timer or whatever. 90s is just, it's what it is. Like, a lot of music today samples from the 90s. I mean, yes, stuff from the 80s and stuff too, but that was just your Eminems, your Jay-Z's, your I'm trying to think of, I mean, there were so many people that they come from the 90s, well, granted, Eminem was like 99, so that was towards the end.
As soon as you said sampling, I thought of him because I actually listened to Houdini after I dropped the kids off at school today.
But you got, like, speaking of sampling, one of the biggest hits from the 90s was Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice.
Mm-hmm.
That sampled from Queen and David Bowie.
Under Pressure. Yeah.
Under Pressure.
Yep.
And,
both good songs.
Yeah. Like I said, you had the whole, what was that? Like the grunge era?
Yes.
With Nirvana and all of them. Pearl Jam. Yes. That was 90s.
That I am a huge Nirvana fan. I love Kurt, and the Pearl Jam album 10 is like a classic. That's another no skip album for me. 10 is just a great record.
And then I'm trying to see, it was so like the shows was like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Martin, New York Undercover, Saved by the Bell, and the California Dreams, one of my faves.
Mm-hmm.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It's even though watching that stuff, well, Power Rangers at least now is always cheesy. It's crap.
It is.
But
it was
growing
so fun.
up,
oh my god, that movie! I practically wore out my VHS tape of their movie.
That was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching that movie, and I was like, at the end of that movie when they have that big celebration in town.
Mm-hmm.
I always was like, man, what is this song that they playing at the end of this movie? Like, I always wanted to figure that out. And once, you could start looking up music in a not so generous way to the artist.
Yes.
But I could just go online and just type in a few lyrics I remember from the song. And I was like, then I would go through songs and I was like, this is it. I finally found it. And it was Dreams by Van Halen. And I was like, oh, man.
Mm-hmm. Another good band.
So, yes, that was like.
Shout out to Eddie. We miss you.
There was a lot of cheesy. American Gladiators. That was also pretty cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like Nickelodeon. Like the All That's, the Keenan and Kales. Oh man, what was the Amanda show?
Mm-hmm.
Man, they just see. I didn't really watch Disney a whole lot in the 90s. I was more of a Nickelodeon person.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got more into Disney in the next decade. I'm
in the
talking
early
about
2000s, yeah.
So I mean. So yeah, it was. They don't even get started on the music. Like I say, we talked a little bit, but you got in the rap world, like the Biggies and the Tupacs and Nas, and like I said, Jay-Z, like NWA, That's where Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, Eazy-E, all of them come from. It was Michael Jordan, like from sports, and like it was, oh man, just fond memories of the 90s. Like
90s were, I feel like, the best decade to grow up in.
Man, it was.
Maybe I'm just saying that because I'm a 90s kid, but no, it was different times back then. We were like the last generation before social media and like just the internet in general just kind of took over.
Yeah. TRL, like,
yes,
it's just music videos in general. I feel like in that era was at its peak as far as like the way they came out, the way they looked, the way the money that was spent, making these videos. I remember they even had a show on MTV called Making a Video. So, I mean, like I said, that was... Then you had the pop era. Like, well, I call it like the TRL era. With the Britneys and Christinas and Backstreet, NSYNC, 98, Mandy Moore, LFO, like...
Jessica Simpson,
yes. And, oh, man, that was, like I say... if you lived through that era, and if you didn't, I'm sorry. Like
anyone out there born anytime in the 80s, I feel like is gonna know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah,
it was a special time.
Yeah,
it just felt different back then.
Yeah, and then for my people that know, like, if you were into like fashion and stuff, or more like urban fashion, if you remember that platinum FUBU that they had the Fat Albert characters on the jeans and the t-shirts as cartoon, man, FUBU used to be the stuff. Like,
remember Jinko jeans?
Jinko jeans? No.
But they had the huge legs, like the huge pant legs.
No,
it was. They came together almost like a skirt. I'll have to show you later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they were super popular back then.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, huge. Like, obviously you had like your bell bottoms or flares. Flares is what they ended up calling. Yeah. But no, these were like the whole pant leg was just huge. It was basically a skirt, but it was separate pant legs.
All right. Cool. And like I say, me personally, like, I'm a huge jersey collector, and a lot of the ones I like are from the 90s eras of sports. I mean, this one isn't, Chargers, but yeah, 90s, like I said, is special. And I think, if it wasn't, I feel like each era sets up the next one, the decade.
Oh yeah.
If it wasn't for the 50s, we wouldn't have had the 60s, and the 60s set up the 70s. So it was, So I feel like the 90s set up the 2000s, which was
absolutely
a very interesting decade. A lot of people, the craze about the year 2000. About the world, and yeah.
I remember that New Year's Eve, I was so excited to stay up and watch the ball drop, and I fell asleep early. And I remember I asked the next day, I'm like, what happened when the ball dropped? And they were like, everybody cheered, and it was fine. Like, literally nothing happened.
Nothing happened, no. The 2000s, though, that was, I feel like, and a lot of people probably would agree with me, started the, almost a decline in sales as far as like music, just because of the .com era,
Napster,
the LimeWires, FrostWire, like that illegal music downloading stuff started like heavy.
I remember so many artists got behind that, like petitioning that and stuff. And then I always agreed with them because there were people who said like, oh, well, they make tickets on or they make money on like concert tickets and stuff and like their merch and everything. But like the music, like that's their work.
Yes.
That's what they put their heart and soul into. Like that's what started it. Like that's their career, you know, like everything else is secondary to that. But like if you're not going to buy, like invest in their work, like what are you even doing? Then that's like the people who buy Nirvana shirts and they don't know who Kurt Cobain is just because it's like trending or whatever.
But yeah, it was, like I said, that was the era where, you know, like you got your Eminems. Eminem became massive.
Yes.
Ludacris. I remember when Ludacris came out at the time. Actually, I think he was also like that 99, came out 99, but he got more big, you know, 2000s. This was before he was Fast and the Furious and all that stuff. He was Ludacris the rapper. Like, if people don't know that, like, check out some of his songs. Like, Ludacris could rap, and people don't know that. You know, they just know him from the movies. So, then they had a lot of dance crazes too. Like they had the Chicken Noodle Soup song, you know, Soulja Boy, you know, you and Stanky Leg and all that.
I forgot to mention the Macarena when we were talking about the 90s.
Oh yeah,
speaking Macarena of dances, was going back to the 90s huge. For 1 second, but yeah no, that Macarena, just reminded me.
Yeah, then you had your cha-cha slides and like I say, I feel like the 2000s was almost like this weird continuation of like not the full 90s, but maybe like the mid 90s from like maybe like 98 to like I feel like it was that continuation.
Early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah.
That was really when it was just kind of evolving. It hadn't fully evolved yet. It was like still in the process. Like from the late 90s to early 2000s.
Yeah. And then it was a change in the eras too, because a lot of those like big pop acts from the 90s started to phase out once the 2000s came. So it was, you know, like it was different for a lot of them artists, you know, like I'm trying to remember who. I remember Christina still had she had a couple more hits like after that happened. Jessica Simpson.
You're talking like going into the mid 2000s or going into the 2000s themselves?
No, I meant like the 2000s themselves.
Well, Christina had her Stripped album. I think that was 2022. Geez, 2002.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it throws me off sometimes because I know like Britney had released, like she had Baby One More Time, and then she released Oops in 2000. And then the Britney album in 2001.
Oh, okay.
Christina went from like her debut to Stripped, which was her second album, but then she also had her Christmas album and her first Spanish album in there too. Yeah. Which weren't, you know, I mean, those were like specialty albums. I don't know if that's what they're called.
But that Stripped album was a banger.
Yes, it was. Oh, it was worth the wait.
I mean, it still is a good listen. The wait.
That is another one, like, no skips.
It still is a good listen. Well, yeah, for her, it's no skips. For me, it's one on there that I just can't stand. But other than that, it's a good album. If I got one skip on the album, it's still a good album.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. You know, and it's the track list is extensive on it. It's not a short album either.
Yeah.
There's 19 tracks, I think. So I think 1 out of 19 is that's pretty good.
Even the interludes on that album was amazing. Like, and I think that's something that I feel like don't get talked about enough sometimes with albums. I know we're going off subject, but interludes sometimes on the album, sometimes they are really good. You know, they give you like a minute, sometimes maybe 2 minutes of whatever. But yeah, interludes sometimes is great little snippets or whatever you want, you know.
Yeah. You know what my favorite interludes are?
What's that?
Hey, it's Paul. I don't know. I
know. Yeah.
It's like instant, like.
But yeah, I think also in the 2000s, I feel like as far as like TV and stuff like that too, like I said, a lot of that stuff I just feel like started to shift. Like less people's, especially once like the 2010s. I feel like television took this weird turn where it was like reality TV.
Yes.
Like every station just about had to have a reality show.
I was huge into reality TV for a while.
Not saying all of it was bad. I'm in like the early days of reality TV before, like, you know, you had all these, I call them fake, super fake scripted reality shows. They ain't even reality. Whereas like they make people fight and all this other. No.
And you can tell, like, when you go back. At the time, I was too young. I was like, oh my God, all this is real. But like you can go back and watch now, and you can just tell kind of what was scripted and what they were, you know, told to do just to kind of bring people in to watch. Even the Osbournes, like even Jack and Kelly, like after the first couple seasons, you know, in interviews and stuff, they would say like, yeah, MTV wanted us to do this or talk about this just to, you know, get their core viewers brought in.
Yes. That was a good show. Osbournes was an amazing show.
Osbournes got me into reality TV. I had listened to Ozzy since I was little. I was like 13 when the Osbournes started their first season. But I had listened to Ozzy when I was a little bit younger because my dad was a big fan, and my uncle. But Kelly like really influenced a lot of my style. And she made me feel seen because I was never super skinny. And that was kind of frowned upon back then. And Kelly just came out and she's like, no, this is me. Like, I have choppy pink hair and I wear the clothes that I like. And I'm not going to wear crop tops because that's just not me. And this is my body type. Like, this is me, you know. And Jack was just hilarious.
Yeah.
I feel like he was really misunderstood. I don't know. I always liked Jack.
Yeah. Speaking of This Is Me, which is a good song that I like. That was that 2010 era. That Disney Channel at that time was Nickelodeon. I just felt like I hate to say this, but I felt like it took a backseat.
It did.
To Disney.
It did. That is one thing I can say. I know I was praising 90s Nickelodeon.
Oh, yes.
But I feel like in the 2000s it was Disney. Like Disney was the closest that got to like 90s Nickelodeon for kids TV. Because Disney was on a roll in the early 2000s.
Like I was never a big fan of like the High School Musicals and all that kind of stuff. Right. But
I had aged out by then too.
But
that was later on.
It was this movie that they did called Camp Rock with Demi Lovato and the Jonas Brothers and Allison Stoner. Really good movie. I mean, I enjoyed it. The music on there was really good. Like, I was not too familiar with, you know, Demi or the Jonas Brothers at the time. Allison Stoner I knew from the Missy Elliott videos.
Allison's awesome.
But yeah, one of the songs in the Camp Rock movie was called This Is Me, that Demi song, and then they did Camp Rock 2, which was even better. Like, the songs got better. Like, it was, you know, The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, you know, that was a really good show. Sweet Life on Deck was okay. But I enjoy Sweet Life of Zach and Cody a lot better Then, Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus. That was, she was huge.
And Dolly played her godmother.
Yep.
I thought that
her dad played her dad.
Well, yes, her dad played her dad. I don't know. I love Dolly.
Going back to 90s,
Yeah.
Shout out Achy Breaky.
Oh, Billy Ray.
But yeah, like I say, that was, that was a different time for me. Like I say, because I don't, having like nieces and nephews and stuff like that, they were into that, Disney. So I didn't really watch it before then. And I remember getting up one morning and I'm just like, what is this like music playing on TV? And it was Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. And I was like, what in the world? Some hot dog, hot diggity dog. And I'm like, this is wild. Like, cause I remember like the shows from like the 90s when Britney and Christina and Justin them was on like
the all new Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah. And I was like, this, like watching this this cartoon, but I was just impressed by the quality of it, like the production, like it, I was like, man, this is wild, So yeah, like it was something different, and I just remember thinking to myself, like, man, I'm getting like, I think in that era, like I started to realize, like, man, okay, I'm starting to get a little older because I'm just like, I just feel like in that era, like a lot of stuff changed and not for the best, especially music. I just feel like they was just giving anybody opportunities, and I'm not just blaming the labels. Like social media made people just like overnight stars, and they was just giving chances to any and everybody, it seemed like,
Yeah.
So it, I mean, you still had good music out there, like, my girl Adele, like she's freaking amazing. Sam Smith and, my girl's Fifth Harmony. I hope that reunion do happen, by the way. Like I said, there was still good music out there. You just had to look for it, which isn't hard to do. But it's like I said, I hate to sound like one of them people though, but it was like, I just feel like people cared more about the quality of not even just music, but just like movies. And it's like some movies even nowadays there's a lot of remakes.
Yes.
Or there's like sequels of movies that was like from the 90s or the 80s or something. It's like all of a sudden, all this time passed and now you want to make a sequel. And it's like, it's, I haven't seen a really good sequel from like an 80s, 90s movie probably. And like Coming to America 2 was terrible. I'm a huge Beverly Hills Cop fan. Like, I love all of those movies. Now, that movie I actually enjoyed on Netflix. That I wasn't going to watch it because I was scared too. I'm like, it's been too long, And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it. But one of my coworkers was like, Grant, you need to watch this movie. It's really good. And I watched it. And it was really good. Like, I watched it 2 or 3 times. So, yeah, it turned out to be a really good movie. And then it was like that era where, ironically, like the 90s, like that 90s made like this, almost this comeback. Like I started noticing like you had all these, I love the 90s tours, or you had like all of these like
90s con. I still wish I could have gone to that.
Yeah, like which is nice to see, you know, that these people are still appreciated, but it goes to show you the quality of the music. Mm-hmm. Not even, like I said, even go back to the 80s, like some of those like bands still can tour and sell out arenas to this day. Yeah. And it shows you, like I say, the quality of music. Like I've seen Lil Wayne in concert a few times, and it's like some artists you can go see more than once and you can enjoy the show. But it's like you go see somebody and it's literally like the same exact show. Mm-hmm. I mean, there might be a few new songs sprinkled in there, but it's like, okay, so how is this show any different than the last one? Mm-hmm. And I know it's different for a rap concert because they, you know, they don't really have to, you know, they just walk around, you know, with a mic and, you know, I mean, you got some rappers nowadays that might dance a little or whatever. But it's like, you know, I just remember watching shows and seeing like Hammer, like MC Hammer with like his 800 million dancers. I know that's exaggeration. He didn't have that many dancers, but even on a regular show though, like Hammer put on a full-fledged concert. Like he didn't skip you at all on a televised TV show. Mm-hmm. And it's like people, especially nowadays, like concert tickets can be ridiculous. And you got people spending all this money to come see you. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I get you know, I've never been on a tour, so I understand that it can be exhausting. You know, but it's like you wanted to go on tour, so when you go on tour, I expect for you to give your all every show. Yes, you're human just like everybody else is. I get that. Mm-hmm. But if I'm spending my hard-earned money to come see you, now if you're sick or something to that degree, I get it. You know, like I've been to a concert where the singer Carrie Hilson was sick, but she still went out there. She still performed. She tried her hardest to give people still a good show, and I respect that.
I have someone like that too. Joe Elliott from Def Leppard. I've seen them 3 times. Mm-hmm. And the first time he had a cold, and I could not tell until he talked. They came out, they played their first couple songs, and then he, you know, was talking to the audience and stuff, and I couldn't tell when he was singing. I had no clue he was singing. Like, he was on point. And that's another thing I like about being a rock fan, too, like you were saying, with, like, every concert kind of looking the same. Mm-hmm. Rock shows, I feel, are a lot more relaxed. Like, they're still high energy, but it's not, like, so much of a production where you have to do these specific things and you have to like hit your marks and stuff. No offense to any of that. I'm a huge Britney fan. She was a well-oiled machine in her prime, like I've said before. Like that is, you know, but it's like rock shows are different. Like you're just there to hang out and like jam out and enjoy the music. And, you know, each show is a little different, you know, and they can change up the set list too. Oh, yeah. You know, it's not like it's a specific production where you have to do things in a certain order and be in certain spots at certain times or whatever. Mm-hmm. So much. I mean, to a certain extent, because it's still it's still a show, it's still a performance. But I just feel like it's a lot more lenient.
Yeah, it is.
With rock shows.
It is. So yeah, like I say, and even like looking at that stuff today, like as far as just in general, like I feel like television now is kind of just cable television is what I mean by that statement. I just feel like that nowadays is basically an obsolete kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, people still have it, yes, but there's so much stuff out. You got Netflix, you got Hulu, you got Amazon Prime, you got Max, you got Disney Plus. Like, there is so much content out there for you to subscribe to that it's about cheaper nowadays just to get you 3 or 4 subscriptions than pay for cable. Like especially where we are, the price of cable is freaking ridiculous. Like, people don't really watch it.
No.
So it's like, why would you pay, I don't know, I haven't had cable, but it's like maybe, $80-$90 a month for something you ain't really going to watch?
No.
Granted, yes, okay, I don't watch Netflix every day, but it's like, if I do turn it on, there's so much stuff on there for me to watch.
You can pick what to watch, and you can watch it when you have the time. You don't have to be like, okay, well, this show is on at this time, on this night, but, I have to work, so, or, whatever. It's like, that's why, like, when This Is Us was going, I used to watch it on Hulu on Wednesdays. Okay. I would just wait till the next night, and I would just try to stay off social media so I didn't have any spoilers.
Yeah, social media, that was sure a game changer in a lot of good and bad ways. Spoilers was one of them things that was, of course, a bad thing for a lot of people. Some people like spoilers, though. I mean, I think more or less not with like TV shows and stuff like that. But like in the wrestling world and stuff, some people like spoilers. They want to see what's going to happen on the show before they watch it, or granted, I do sometimes too myself to see if I want to watch a show.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, spoilers is not good. Like I said, social media has helped a lot. I feel like it helped people. I feel like it helped a lot of people come out of their shell. But then on the flip side of it, it also caused a lot of untimely stuff to happen to people. A lot of people lost their lives because of social media. From the, threats and body shaming and bullying and... Yeah,
it's a lot easier to be mean to someone behind a screen than...
Yeah, keyboard warriors.
Yes.
That's, But, yeah, no, it's...
And a lot of them hide behind fake profiles, too. It's not even their actual profile. They just...
Yeah.
Make one without a name, without a picture, just to harass people.
And then you got the ones that do, pretend like they're these celebrities so you can send them money so they can, come back. They need it. Yeah. Come back to the States so they can record again and it's or whatever. Like, it's crazy. Like, people really try to scam people and it's not good at all, So, but yeah, I like social media for what it is. It helps, you can't talk to everybody every day. Everybody don't want to talk on the phone every day. So if you could just send just the emoji with a wave on it or something, let people just know you're still thinking about them. Or you got family that you don't get an opportunity to see all the time because they live maybe 6-7 hours away from you. I mean, yes, you can still talk on the phone, don't get me wrong, but people are so busy nowadays. Like, the way the society is, where you have to work maybe sometime 2 jobs to get by. So it might be easier just for you to pick up your phone and be like, hey, auntie, or hey, unc, or hi, cuz,
Yeah. If you want to visit someone, you've got to plan it 6 months to a year in advance because you got to match everybody's schedules up.
Yes.
But no, I think that's kind of what social media started out being for. Like, that was the purpose. Because I remember, like I literally remember setting up my MySpace profile back in the day, and I remember the slogan was "A place for friends."
Yep.
And I think that's what that's what it was supposed to be. And then a few years later, Facebook comes along, and then Facebook just kind of blows up, and it just kind of went from there.
Yeah, see, I remember when Facebook first came out. I think I might be incorrect, but I think it was supposed to be for like college students.
Well, because Zuckerberg was in college when he started it, and that was kind of it was just like a social networking thing just for that, and then it just blew up.
So it did. It really did. And then Twitter is something, or X now, it's something a lot of people didn't get into because it didn't have that same kind of capabilities as Facebook, did. Like, basically you just go on there and just read stuff, and you might tweet somebody, and the rare occurrence a celebrity might tweet you back or whatever, if it's them.
Yeah, if it's really them.
So
that's when they started doing the verified check mark, I think.
So yeah, like I say, it's everything I just feel like comes full circle. I just wish that one of my biggest gripes about right now is I feel like the passion for music isn't the same like it used to be. Mm-hmm. Not saying there's people that aren't passionate about their music. I am not saying that.
But overall, in general,
yes,
like a lot of the newer artists out there.
Yeah, it's and it's sad because it's like there is so much of it out there right now. Like it's even harder to find or navigate to find good music nowadays. Like, and again, it goes back to social media. Like, if it wasn't for a TikTok, there are so many songs I didn't discover because of TikTok. Mm-hmm. And, there are songs that's been out 5, 6, 7 years. And because of TikTok, they trending. Mm-hmm. They charting after all this time. Like and like I said, that's one of those pluses about social media. Like you can do stuff like that. Or you got a song that come out and it's not doing that well. And TikTok trends to pick it up, and they go from like 0 to 100.
They'll make a dance to it or something, and then all of a sudden everyone is
like
jumping on the wagon.
Like it is so crazy, just the power that it has, and like I said, that's for the good. If it's being used to the good, I have no issues with it. Mm-hmm. Or even something like Fortnite or something like. There are songs on there, like, because they got emojis and, like, songs you can purchase and stuff. And it's like, man, this song kind of catchy. It makes you want to go find out what it is, Mm-hmm. So, and thanks to Fortnite, recently I got on this whole Sabrina Carpenter kick. So, fun fact. So, yes.
Their short and sweet album, that's a banger.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, usually what we do here on the Kulture Overdrive podcast is we like to end each show with a list, like a top 5 or whatever.
Right.
And we've been talking, and there are a lot of great one-hit wonders. Like, I mean, a lot. Not even just from the 90s. I just mean, they got some from the 80s that was one-hit wonders.
Oh, yeah.
So, we just decided to do like a top 5 of one-hit wonders. And it's something we're going to sure leave off. Like, not purposely, but there's just so many good ones. Mm-hmm. So, I'll start. Because I got some in my head already.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go. One of my favorites is "How Bizarre" by OMC. That song brings me so much joy. Like, I can be in the worst of moods and somebody can play "How Bizarre," or I can just hear it from just anywhere, and it puts me in a good mood. Like, it's just one of those songs.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, I love that song. It's a great one-hit wonder, you know. I'm trying to think. It was the Bloodhound Gang song. I think it was called "The Bad Touch."
Mm-hmm.
That's that was a really good, like, catchy song for the time. That song, like, I didn't know nothing about the Bloodhound Gang before that song, so hearing that, then I got the album, which wasn't the greatest. I went to their back catalog and got some of their other work, which wasn't the greatest either. Not to be mean, that's just so my opinion. But that song was, that was a great one-hit wonder. Like, that was a great song.
Mm-hmm.
Stacy's Mom. That was... I almost feel like that song is more iconic for the video than the actual song.
We will. I want to pick back up on Stacy's Mom in a later episode, and just give a shout out to Mr. Adam Schlesinger. I can't even say his name right now. Shout out to Adam from Fountains of Wayne, who wrote that song. He is really good friend. Well, he's passed on now. Rest in peace. That was the first COVID death that really affected me.
Oh, okay.
As far as out of the people I didn't know personally,
mm-hmm.
He was really good friends with my favorite band, Hanson, and he was also the songwriting partner for Rachel Bloom, one of my favorite actresses. They wrote the songs together for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which is one of my favorite shows.
Okay,
so that's a good one that I want to delve deeper into.
Okay,
later on. So that's a good choice. I'm glad you picked Stacy's Mom.
Of course. You gotta go with Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice. Now, I seen, was it yesterday or the day before, somebody was saying that he had another hit. I don't know. I consider him to be a one-hit wonder. No knock to the guy, because I enjoyed his album to the extreme. So, but I just feel like Ice Ice Baby is what he's known for. Like, that is his one hit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, he's that one hit wonder to me, And I was going, before I say my last one, I was going to say Milli Vanilli. But I feel like Girl You Know It's True, Blame It on the Rain.
Blame It on the Rain is my jam.
Like, they had more than one hit. Granted, yes, we all know it wasn't them singing it. I get it.
It was just short-lived. They had more than one hit. It was just short-lived.
But, but my last one, I'm going to go with Crazy Town with Butterfly. Butterfly was a massive freaking hit. I love that song.
That's actually on my list.
I still listen to that song. So yeah, them is some of my picks right there.
Yeah. No, okay, so I'll lead with that because that was literally on my list. Butterfly, that was just, that was a banger back in the day. I felt so cool listening to that. The Macarena, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Faded by Soul Decision.
Oh, man.
Spotify randomly, sometime last summer, just randomly played me that song as one of the suggested songs. Because it's, based on the algorithm or whatever for what you listen to, and it's based on that, when you search up a song. So I added it to my liked list, and I had forgotten all about it, and then it Spotify started playing it. I'm like, oh my God, I remember this song. Let's see. I had the whole list in my head, and then I got talking about Soul Decision.
That's fine.
Butterfly, Macarena. Oh my God, I forgot what my other two were.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I forgot what my other two were. Those are my top three. I don't even know if I have a top five.
See, like
I'm someone who, like, if I'm going to, like, listen to a bit, like, I stick with a band. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't really, I mean, yeah, there's songs I know. I guess I just don't listen to music that casually.
Okay. I got you.
So I got a top three.
Like I say, yeah, sitting here, I'm kind of like, while you was naming songs, I'm like, all these other ones just literally, like, BB Mac popped in my head.
I love BB. There you go. Okay, back here. Back here. Yes, like, I love BB Mac.
Evan and Jaron, Crazy for This Girl.
That was a good one.
Like, Gavin DeGraw, I Don't Want to Be.
He wasn't a one-hit wonder, though. Gavin DeGraw is still around. Didn't he do Chariot? That's his song,
you're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
And
I forgot about Chariot. Yes. My bad, Gavin.
there's another one that they'll, like, play it at stores. They'll play it on, like,
what about Paula Cole?
Oh yeah.
I Don't Want to Wait.
I mean, as a Dawson's Creek fan, absolutely.
You know, I don't know if Edward McCain had. I mean, I think he might have had another song outside of I'll Be that was a hit.
He had one other one. I can't remember the name, though. It wasn't quite at the height of I'll Be. That was a good one, though.
That was.
They used that song on Dawson's Creek.
Yep, that's how I found out about it. Mm-hmm. That one.
Oh, I remember my other one now. Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba.
Oh, man. How did I forget about that one?
Tub Thumping.
How did I forget about Getting Knocked Down, but I get up again.
But I get up again.
Man. Oh, Baja Man, Who Let the Dogs Out. Another one-hit wonder. Like I say, there's a lot. Never Gonna Give You Up. What was Rick?
Astley.
Like, man, there's quite, like I said, there's a lot of people. You know, but like I say, we appreciate you guys, like, big time. Like I said, first video.
Stick with us. We're still figuring this thing out. We're still finding our groove.
Yeah.
We're still setting up our filming room. This is not going to be the final background, but we figured the good vibes only. We're all about the good vibes.
Oh, for sure. Thank you guys. We appreciate you. More to come.
We're going to have some guests on.
Oh, yeah.
Check out our TikTok.
Yep.
And subscribe on Spotify and iHeart.
Yep. And right here on YouTube. Click that subscribe button. Hit that bell to get all the notifications. Yep. And leave comments down in the comment section. We appreciate any kind of feedback. Yep. And until next... As long as it's civil. Well, yeah, of course. True. Well, until next time, I'm Grant. I'm Stephanie. And this has been the Kulture Overdrive podcast, and we'll see you later. Thank you. See you guys.